Did the recording start?
Yeah, the recording has started.
Fine. Okay. So today we'll be discussing about stable matching, and yeah, all the slides are taken from Carnegie Mellon University. Fine. So yeah, and the question is basically this: you have n men and n women, all are unmarried, and they want you to match them up among themselves. So instead of just randomly matching them up, they give you a preference list. Like, okay, let me just go to an example. Okay, so you have basically 3 men here and 3 women here, and this is the preference list. So
Sorry to interrupt, but your screen is not yet being shared.
okay, sorry. Is it fine now?
Yes, your screen has come now.
All right. So yeah, this is table matching, and the slides are taken from CMU. And yeah, the problem is you have n men and n women, all are unmarried, and you want to match them up between themselves. And for that, what they'll be doing is they'll be giving you a preference list. Like, okay, let's take this example. You have 3 men here, Albert, Bradley, and Charles, and then 3 women, and they will give you a preference list. Like, Albert prefers Diane more than Emily, and more than Fergie. And Diane, similarly for women also you have a preference list, and Emily, let's say Emily prefers Albert more than Bradley than Charles. So yeah, so for each person you have a preference list. So let's say there are n men and n women. So basically each man gives you a list of n women. So ordered in such a way that the first person is his most preferred person, and this is the second, and this is the third. Similarly, you have the same list for women. So this is what you have, and then what you need to do is you need to find a matching. So a matching looks something like this. So in this case, you match Albert with Fergie, Bradley with Emily, and Charles with Diane. Similarly, I mean the same thing here, Diane with Charles and everything. So basically, you'll need to match them up in pairs. Yeah. So you need to find such a matching, and the matching should be such that there is no blocking pair. Okay. Let me explain what a blocking pair is. A blocking pair is an unmatched pair of a man and woman. Unmatched pair. Unmatched pair means in this case, Albert and Emily is an unmatched pair. Albert and Diane is an unmatched pair. And Albert and Fergie, they are a matched pair. Yeah. And they are an unmatched pair of man and woman who both prefer each other over whoever they are assigned to in the matching. So again, let's take this example. Okay. So yeah, in this case, the matched pairs are Albert and Fergie, Bradley and Emily, Charles and Diane. So now look at the pair, Albert and Emily. Clearly, they are an unmatched pair because Albert is with Fergie and Emily is with Bradley. But Emily prefers Albert more than the current match, which is Bradley. So Emily prefers Albert more than her current match. And Albert also prefers Emily more than his current match, who is Fergie. So yeah, so we can clearly see from the definition that Albert and Emily form a blocking pair because they prefer each other more than whoever they are matched with currently. So this is an example of blocking pair. So yeah, basically for you are given n people and each of them has a preference list, and you'll need to match them up as pairs such that there is no blocking pair. And such a matching is called a stable matching. So you'll need to match them up so that there is no blocking pair. And yeah, you might have a question that whether it is possible or not. And in this case, clearly this is a matching, and there is a blocking pair which is Albert and Emily. So yeah, and then okay, now let's look at this matching. Albert is matched with his first preference, who is Diane. Bradley is with Emily, who is his first preference, and Charles is with his last preference, who is Fergie. And then Diane and Emily are with their second preferences, and Fergie is with Charles because that's the same thing, just the names are switched here. Okay, let's just look at this first table. And then now look at every pair you can think of. Clearly, Albert and Emily are not a blocking pair because Albert doesn't prefer Emily over whoever he is with currently because Diane is his first preference. And clearly Albert and Fergie is not a blocking pair. And the same goes for Bradley and Diane, Bradley and Fergie. And for Charles, let's take a look at the example Charles and Diane. Let's take a look at Charles and Diane. Now Diane is actually matched with Albert, who is above Charles. So this is not a blocking pair because for a blocking pair, we need both of them to prefer each other over whoever they are with currently. So for them to be a blocking pair, you need Diane to prefer Charles over Albert, which is not the case. So Charles and Diane won't form a blocking pair. Charles and Emily also don't form a blocking pair. So clearly there is no blocking pair in this matching. So this is a stable matching. So yeah, clearly Fergie and Charles are unhappy because they are the least preferred over for all of them. So we can't do anything for this, but still this is a stable matching. So okay, now there is a question that does a stable solution to the managed problem always exist? Because in this simple case we found one, okay, so this is a question, and then the second question is it possible to compute such a solution efficiently? Well, what we can do is, if we really want to, we can just match them up randomly and check whether it's a stable matching or not. So basically you have n here and n here, and every time you choose one from here, so you'll have n choices, and then you'll choose one from here and another n choices. And then next time you'll choose another one from men, which is n minus 1, and then another one from women, which is n minus 1. So like that. So basically you'll have n factorial whole square number of choices. So to do this exhaustively, to do an exhaustive search, you need to go through n factorial whole square number of simulations to check whether there is a stable matching or not. It is actually very huge number, so n factorial, which also grows very fast, and then we have squared of that. So yeah, this is also a very important question because there might be something like some 100 people, maybe even 1,000 people, and you can, and even this situation in JOSA counseling situation, it is also a similar kind of problem to matching because there are institutes and they prefer students based on their rank, and the students also give you a preference list based on the departments and IITs they prefer. So that thing also can be thought of as a little complicated stable matching problem. So yeah, we can't stick with n factorial whole square. So there is a need to look for a better and efficient solution. And then the last question is, can we compute the best stable solution efficiently? Yeah. All right. So we will go directly to the algorithm, Gale-Shapley algorithm. They gave this in 1962, and they actually won Nobel Prize in Economics for this algorithm in 2012. So the consequences of this algorithm are that huge. Yeah. So what we'll be doing is, initially there are, let me just, n men and n women, and initially, okay, let me say this is women and this is men. Initially all of them are unmatched. So what you'll do is pick a person in men who is unmatched. While some man is unmatched, pick that person, and then we know that each man has a preference list, W1, W2, and etc. Each man has a preference list. So what we'll make him do is, we'll make him go to the woman who is his first preference and propose to her. So if he has already proposed to her, okay, let's, okay, fine. If he has already proposed to her, he won't propose to her again. Like, okay, I'll show you a working thing. Just a minute. So let's say there is 1, 2, 3, and there is A, B, C. So what one will do is he will go to B. Let's say one's preference list is B, C, and A. So he'll go to B, propose to her, and if that woman is also unmatched, then you'll just match them temporarily. So he said that W and M are engaged. Or and if she is already matched to somebody, if she is already engaged to somebody, and let's say B is currently engaged to 2. Fine. B is currently engaged to 2, and her preference list is first is 3, then 1, then 2. Okay. 1 was initially unmatched, and B was engaged to 2. So what he'll do is he'll go and propose to her. She will look at her preference list, which is 3, 1, 2, and clearly one is higher than her current match, which is 2. So she will drop 2 and she will match with 1. So what will happen is A, B, and 1, C, and 1 will be currently matched, 2 and 3 will be unmatched. So yeah, okay, 1 will be currently matched, 2 and 3 will be unmatched. So this is what will happen. And if let's say in this case B is matched with 3, the person with her highest, I mean, like she is matched with the person she prefers the most, then she will just ignore the proposal given by 1. So yeah, that's what's happening in this algorithm. So okay, let me just do a full run of this. Just a second. Okay, initially you have women to be A, B, C, and then preferences. A's preferences 1, 2, 3, let's say. B's preferences 2, 1, 3. C's preferences 3, 1, 2. Fine. Sorry. Just a second. Okay. These preferences, I'm just making them up randomly. Right. So. Okay. So what will happen first is, let's choose some man. Okay, these are men. Oh God. Okay, these are the preference lists for each person. And yeah, so what will happen is, let's take up these are men and these are women. First, one will go to a woman. Let's say one will go to A, and then because A is unmatched, she will become matched with 1. And then and then we'll look at another man who is not matched. 2 will go to B. Okay, this one, let me just change this. Two will go to the first woman in his preference, who is C. C is also unmatched. So okay, so C will become matched with 2, and then we'll go to 3. 3 will go to the first woman in his preference, which is C, and then C is currently matched with 2, but because the third person is above 2 in her preference, she will break off her engagement with 2 and then will become engaged with 3. Now you have 2 unengaged again, unmatched again, and he already proposed to C once before. Yeah, just before third person came over and broke off his engagement, he already proposed to C, so he won't propose to her again. He will go to A, and 2 will propose to A, but 2 is after 1 in her preference list, so she will ignore his proposal. So he already proposed to A, so now he will go to B. B is already unmatched, so B will become matched with 2. So this is the final matching generated from Gale-Shapley algorithm. So we can clearly check that whether it is stable matching or not. So A and 1 have both of them as their highest preferences, so there should be no issue in this. So yeah, A and 1, you can ignore this pair. So now let's take a look at B comma 3. B comma 3, and here, okay, B comma 3, fine. B comma 3 are not matched. This is an unmatched pair. 3 is matched to 3, and B is below that, so this is not a blocking pair because the current person 3 is matched to, who is C, is not a lower preferred that person than B. A blocking pair is a blocking pair only when they prefer themselves more than the person they are matched to. But 3 is already matched to C, who is his first preference. So B comma 3 is not a blocking pair. Similarly, you can just verify very simply that C comma 2 is also not a blocking pair. So this algorithm basically, we just verified through example that this algorithm generates a stable matching. Now we'll go towards the proof claim. Okay, this is a GS terminates in polynomial time. So there might be some question that this algorithm might not terminate at all, because this is basically a while some man is unmatched loop. It's a while loop, so it might actually turn out to be an infinite loop or something. We'll first prove that that is not the case and it terminates, and that too in at most n square operations. So from this we can see that the complexity will be something around n square, because each of these things take at most order of 1 time. So this is a huge improvement from the one we had before, which is, that's one, order of n factorial whole square. So yeah, so now let's look at the proof that it terminates in polynomial time. At each iteration, we know that some man who is unmatched proposes to someone whom he has never proposed before. So this should actually give us an intuition why it terminates, because there are only a n square number of pairs. So every time the loop proceeds forward, one of the pair will be done. Like let's say in the previous scenario, A comma 2 is a pair, and if 2 proposes to A, that pair is gone because he won't propose to A again. So each iteration, one man proposes to someone to whom he has never proposed before. And then yeah, there are n men and n women, so n square possible events. and it can tighten to be okay, fine. Suppose that some M is unmatched at termination. After terminating, okay, so yeah, there are n square possible events. So basically the while loop terminates at some point. Okay, this basically proves the claim that it should terminate in n square iterations of the outer loop. And now we'll look at the claim that Cayley-Shapley algorithm results in a perfect matching. Suppose that some man is unmatched at termination and there are n men and n women. So because there are equal number of men and women, if some man is unmatched, there will be at least one woman who is unmatched too. Okay, once a woman is okay, and the other thing is from the algorithm, it's clear that once a woman is matched to somebody, she either swaps them out for somebody better or she sticks with that person. So once a woman is matched, she cannot be unmatched. So once a woman is matched, she is never unmatched because she only replaces that person with a better person or she sticks with it. She only swaps partners. Thus because this we call that woman who is unmatched W. Because she is unmatched, nobody proposed to W. But because the loop ended, because we said at termination, because the loop ended, M proposed to everybody and still left unmatched. That is a contradiction because we clearly saw that if a woman is unmatched, she is not proposed to. Nobody proposed to her. But we also know that the loop terminated, so M proposed to everybody. So that in itself is a contradiction. So the claim that there is a person who is unmatched at termination is wrong. Okay. Fine. Well, let me just explain this once again. So if there is a man who is unmatched, we also know that there is a woman who is unmatched. But we also know that if a woman is matched to somebody at some point during the algorithm, she will stay matched to somebody, either that person or somebody else. So if a woman is unmatched, then it implies that nobody proposed to her. So, but M is unmatched at the termination of the loop. That means because the loop terminates when all the proposals are done. So M already proposed to W. That results in a contradiction. Okay. Now we proved that there will be this proves that there will be no man or woman left out after the termination of the loop. Now we will prove that the algorithm we just did results in a stable matching. Okay. Assume some M and W form a blocking pair. We know the blocking pair is let me just say M is blocking pair is a pair where M and W prefer each other more than their current preferences. Okay. Now, because M and W form a blocking pair, let's look at this in terms of cases. Case 1, M never proposed to W. This is case 1. In Cayley-Shapley algorithm, men propose in order of preferences. Yeah, because that's the algorithm. And since M never proposed to W, he is already with some woman. Let's call her W dash. He's already with some woman W dash. He proposed before W, and he proposed W dash before W itself means that W dash is higher in preference compared to W, right? Because let's look at this example. Here, 2 first proposed to C, then A, then B. So he goes in order of preferences. So in that case, if M proposed to W dash first and never proposed to W, it means that W dash is of higher preferences than W, which contradicts that M and W are blocking. So M and W are not blocking. So this case is taken care of. And now let's look at the second case. If M proposed to W. If M proposed to W and they form a blocking pair, that means they are not with each other and somebody else swapped M. So initially there was M and W because M proposed to W and he got swapped out by somebody else M dash. This is one scenario. Or the other scenario is M was with M dash before, and when M came and proposed to her, she rejected him. That will only happen if she prefers M dash more. Okay. So basically W rejected M at some point, either in this scenario or in this scenario. She was initially with M and then took somebody else in, or she was with somebody else and rejected M. So yeah, that. So W rejected M at some point. Now we know that in Gale-Shapley algorithm, women only reject for better partners. So in this scenario, she rejected M and accepted M dash because M dash had a higher preference than M. In this scenario, she rejected M because similar thing, because M dash had a higher preference than M. So in both cases, she rejected M for M dash because M dash had a higher preference, which itself contradicts that they are blocking. Because W is currently with M dash and prefers him more than M. So M and W are not blocking. So yeah, basically these two exhaust the cases, because whenever some men and women are not a pair, either M proposes to W or M does not propose to W. So in each case we came up with a contradiction that they are a blocking pair. So we can conclude that there exists no blocking pair in the matching generated after Gale-Shapley. So this proves that Gale-Shapley results in a stable matching. Time is now okay. Does a stable solution always or stable solution to the marriage problem always exist? We solve this question because basically Gale-Shapley terminates. That is one thing, and Gale-Shapley always results in a stable matching. So if you want a stable solution to the marriage problem, you just run Gale-Shapley on that, and whatever the matching you get, that will be a stable solution. So basically, stable solution exists to every problem because Gale-Shapley terminates. Now, can we compute such a solution efficiently? Yes, because we just did that in order of n squared time. Now, the third question is, can we compute the best stable solution efficiently? What do we mean by best? Because okay, what do we mean by best? I'll just do the example and skip the proof. Okay, we saw that there is a stable matching, but there may be more than one. Let me just show you an example. Okay, so in this scenario, okay, in this scenario, Diane, okay, Albert is with Emily, Bradley is with Diane, Charles and Fergie are with themselves, like the previous example. Compare with example 2 we discussed before. Okay, let me just open that. Okay, this is the example 2. In this, Albert is with Diane, his first preference. Bradley is with Emily, his first preference. But in this example, Albert is with Emily, his second preference. Bradley is with Diane, his second preference. So basically, you can just think that the positions of men and women got exchanged, because in this case, the women are happy because they got their first preferences, and in this case, the men are happy because they got their first preferences. So, and you can actually very clearly verify that this is also a stable matching, similar to what we did before. This is also a stable matching. So we can, with this, we can be sure that there can be multiple stable matchings. These two are serve as an example for that. So yeah, so now that we confirm that there are multiple stable matchings, let S be the set of all stable matchings for the given situation. So you have n men and n women, you have the preference list. And now let you call S to be the set of stable matchings, and clearly we'll have at least one stable matching. And now let's say for each woman, M is a valid partner if there exists some stable matching S in S such that where they are paired. So in this example, Diane and Bradley are a valid pair, because in this stable matching Diane and Bradley are matched, and clearly Diane and Albert are also a stable pair, are a valid pair, because in this matching they are paired. So yeah, so M is a valid partner of W if there exists some stable matching in S where they are paired. And now a matching is man optimal. Clearly, the word man optimal itself explains if each man receives his best valid partner. Okay, so let's look at these two again. Here, Albert doesn't receive his best possible partner. Okay, Albert receives his second preference. Bradley receives his second preference. Fine. Now, in this case, Albert receives his first preference. Bradley receives his first preference. So, out of all valid pairs of Albert, the highest person he can reach out to is Diane. So his best valid partner is Diane for Albert. Similarly, for Bradley, his best valid partner is Emily. So again, for Diane, her best valid partner is Bradley, because in this stable matching, Bradley is possible. For Emily, it's Albert. So we can clearly see who are the valid partners in this example. But in general, you'll need to look at the person who has the highest preference among all valid pairs. So now, if you think about it, maybe Fergie's best valid partner itself is Charles, because out of all stable matching, if you work out a little bit, out of all valid matchings, there won't be anybody better than Charles for her, because whoever Albert and Bradley are with, okay, if she is with Albert or Bradley, somebody should be with Charles, and then they can just swap out, so that will make a blocking pair. So yeah, in this case, if you write out all stable matchings in this scenario for this preference list, you can see that Fergie will never be with somebody other than Charles, and since he is the highest person with whom she can match to, like the highest the highest person with the person with the highest preference out of all valid pairs, like for Fergie can only, the valid person she can match to is only Charles, and he's the only one, so he'll have the highest preference, so he will be her best valid partner. It is not just best partner, because valid, you need to look at the valid partners now. Okay, and a matching is called man optimal if every man receives his best valid partner, not just some men and some women. Every man receives his best valid partner, and it is called man pessimal if every man receives his worst valid partner. Similar to best valid partner, they can be worst valid partners. So I think in this scenario, Albert's worst valid partner should be Emily. Bradley's worst valid partner should be Diane, because whenever he matches with Fergie, there will be a blocking pair. So out of all valid possible matchings, only the person with least preference is Emily. So Albert's least worst valid partner should be Emily in this scenario. Okay, I won't do the proof. It will take a lot of time. It's already 1 hour now. Okay, 50 minutes. GS with man proposing. In the Gale-Shapley algorithm, we started off with men proposing to women. So clearly there is a difference between men and women. There is a separation, I mean, like how the algorithm proceeds. So GS with man proposing results in a man optimal matching. So what this says is, whatever the matching you get from Gale-Shapley algorithm will result in a matching such that every man will be matched to his best valid partner. So in this case, if you run Gale-Shapley algorithm, you will get the following scenario, because in this case, Albert is with his highest preferred highest preferred person. Bradley is also with his highest preferred person. Charles is also with Fergie, who is the only person he can match to. So if you run GL-Shapley algorithm on this scenario, on these two tables, these preferences, these persons, you will get this example matching 2 as your output. So yeah, so Gale-Shapley is skewed. It will give you a man optimal matching, and yeah, this is the proof. I'll upload the slides if anybody want to look into this. And the another surprising thing is GS with man proposing results in a woman pessimal matching. So every woman will receive the worst possible candidate she can match to, out of worst possible valid candidate she can match to. So yeah, it is clear in this also because Diane is with her worst possible valid candidate. Emily is with her worst possible valid candidate. So yeah, Gale-Shapley algorithm will result in man optimal and woman pessimal matching. And then yeah, another thing women can do is they can just make that a person cannot even approach her, so that they can get the best possible matching. So yeah, that thing is there. So basically, yeah, this is it. So what we saw today was Gale-Shapley algorithm, and it is used for creating matchings. It actually has a very lot of uses outside. Like you can think of as this. I already said this, but JOSA and stuff also as a they all they also look similar to this matching problem. So matching problems are pretty common. So yeah, Gale-Shapley algorithm is quite important, and this is actually a very simple algorithm and runs very fast, which is quite unexpected because the brute force algorithm itself took something like order of n square wholes. Actually, it might even take more because for each of these scenarios, you'll need to verify if it's a stable matching or not. So yeah, so Gale-Shapley is a very elegant algorithm, and we also learned that Gale-Shapley algorithm is skewed. It will result in man optimal matching and a woman pessimal matching. And if anybody wants to see the proof, I'll upload it in the file section of this. Yeah, that's it. Stop the record.